using Instagram for business. I'm going to go over a few slides quickly, and I am going to pop up a link in the chat window at the end. So if you have any questions and you want to reach out to me directly, and we can talk about more about how you're using Instagram, that's fine. But not too many people have answered whether or not they're using Instagram currently. So I'm just going to go quickly through the slides, and assume that many people are not using it for business right now. If you are, just hang tight, take some notes, and we'll get to the fun stuff in a minute. All right. So this is quickly what we're going to go over. Instagram for business with the branding. That's the biggest issue that I see a lot of people doing. If you have Instagram and you don't have a business profile, I'm going to show you how to switch over to that. Talk a little bit about why we can use Instagram for real estate, even though we can't use hyperlinks. I'm going to cover Instagram stories, what are hashtags, and then we're going to have a few guest speakers. All right, nope, there we go. So, and I apologize, some of these screenshots are Kinlan Grover based, but this is going to be up on our training calendar and our webinar links for everybody. So I tried to add a few more examples in here. But basically, if you have a business account, you still need to follow the social media policies that we have and make sure that you're compliant with all the MLS and NAR rules for advertising if you are going to be advertising listings. So what that means is you can have an Instagram account, and it does not have to have Kinlan Grover or Rando Realtors or Paige Taft in the username, but if you don't, then you have to make sure you know every time you post pictures of listings that you need to add your brokerage. This is the Cape and Islands policy on how to advertise on all social media, not just Instagram. But basically, somewhere in your post, if it's about a listing or something you're selling, has to have the brokerage name attached to it. All right. So on your profile, if you haven't already switched to a business account, on your profile, right next to edit profile, you'll see a cogwheel, and it about halfway down the page, it'll say switch to business profile. You click that, it'll walk you through the steps. It'll show you, what's good about being on a business account. And if you are already on Facebook Business, it will connect you to your Facebook Business page. And why that's important is a few things. One is for advertising purposes. You can only advertise on Instagram if you have a Facebook advertising account. So those two are connected. The other thing is, of course, it allows you to post what you're posting on Instagram to Facebook, should you choose to do that. We can talk about some of the pros and cons of doing that. It's not always great if you're putting 30 hashtags in your Instagram post to then also post it to Facebook, because it's obviously not a Facebook post, but it is a time saver, so it's okay. And then it will have you fill out your business profile. So you may have created your Instagram account with a, Catherine sells seashells by the seashore at gmail.com. But in a business account, you can then also add your business email. So in, social media at kinlangrover.com, for instance. And that's what would be displayed if anybody wants to publicly get a hold of you. Also, your office address would go in there, your email, and your phone number. And one of the things that a lot of people have been doing is putting all these things in their bio. Well, your bio only allows you to have 180 characters. So this way, with this new business profile, you're allowed to take up more space for your bio and save the phone number and the website and the email for the business profile. And I can show you some examples of that, but if you go to anybody's account, you'll see at the bottom contact, message, call, text, email. Any of those are buttons right at the bottom of the screen. So that's how you know it's a business profile. It's a really easy click to call, click to contact, click to email, that sort of thing. The other thing that I really like about the business profile is the insights. Now, it doesn't go back, so if you haven't turned this on yet, it'll go from any of your posts moving forward. But the insights show you who came to your post, who saw your post, right? Impressions are how many people and how many times it was shown. The reach is how many people it got out to. So maybe somebody saw it multiple times. There may have been a certain action taken from this post. It'll tell you if you got any followers from this post. It will also tell you if people just saw it in their news feed versus they were following hashtags. This was, I don't know which post this was, but 242 visitors saw this particular post because of the hashtags that were used on it. So it is good if you're a numbers geek like me. It's a good thing to have in the background. And again, if you're not, well then whatever, no big deal. But it is sometimes fun, especially if you're playing around with hashtags. See how many more people come if you use different hashtags. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you which hashtags they came from, so you kind of have to just make an educated guess. All right, so the reason why I'm doing a whole session on Instagram, it is a very fast growing platform. I was looking for some stats actually from the last 2 weeks to see how many more people have been on Instagram. Nobody's quite got that quantitative data yet, but it is a very busy platform. There's a lot of people on it. There's a lot of businesses on it. It didn't used to be a business platform. It used to just be photographers and people sharing their pictures. But the thing about Instagram over Facebook is a lot of people have hashtags, they're following hashtags, meaning I could type in hashtag Kinlan Grover or hashtag Randall Realtors or hashtag Paige Taft and follow any post about that. And I mean, in my job, I do, but a lot of our agents do that too, so they can see what other people are posting and using the hashtag Kinlan Grover. So for you, maybe, you know, it's Connecticut shoreline real estate or luxury listings or waterfront homes or whatever it is. But you can follow a whole number, just like you follow accounts, you can follow hashtags. And so what happens is anytime you're using that, in theory, somebody who's following the hashtag will see your post, and therefore your visibility is much greater than it is on Facebook. Now, Facebook has its purpose, and it's still a great platform to advertise and share links to things, but Instagram is really more designed for the visual, the community building, tagging your friends, tagging your businesses, doing videos, going live. You can do an Instagram live as well. So it is a visual and a more engaging platform. All demographics, I didn't put any demo stats or anything in this deck, but all demographics are joining Instagram just like they are Facebook. So it's not like you're only targeting millennials if you're on Instagram. Pretty much everybody of all ages is on Instagram. So again, you can target your audience with those hashtags. You can target your audience with those tags in your photos. But it's a really exponential growth, really. But it's a lot of visibility. It's a lot of engagement. It's a lot of local support, local businesses. So that's why Instagram. And here's some things that I've seen recently. So back up a step. So some people will use Instagram for their real estate business and only post listings, only post houses, right? But sometimes that's too much, right? We talk about the 80-20 rule. I'll go back to that in a second. But the 80-20 rule of 20% business and 80% lifestyle. So while you can still be real estate themed, you want to actually build that lifestyle and build awareness for local things happening. Right now, obviously, local restaurants are big. We want to support our local businesses that are still open. Um, Service providers that are doing some awesome things, right? Shout outs to healthcare workers. All these things that are local and still talking about our community are great to be posting on Instagram, not just those photos. So if I go back a slide, you'll see in the bottom right. Now I took this from another webinar, um, and the idea here is we're talking about what we're doing, right? This is a bunch of agents doing a coming soon, but I've also seen posts of people with their buyers and a sold sign, right? You can talk about being in real estate without constantly selling your business. I love, I saw this other post the other day from Catherine, and it's hilarious, right? It speaks to what's going on in the world right now. And let's be honest, it's funny. And it's relevant, it's current, and it's not too insensitive to the situation, but it's also, again, talking about real estate, talking about appraisals, talking about the value of homes right now. And then the one down at the bottom, beautiful scenery, beautiful photography, showcasing what's great in our local community, wherever that is, right? So humor, iconic photographs, things you're doing, things you've done with work. A lot of people posted their awards graphics. That's perfect. All of this. You want to showcase who you are. Again, this is an individual thing, but also being top of mind and keeping people aware of the fact that you're in real estate. We're all going through this together, and how can you help them? Good question. All right, so 80-20 rule. Again, I'm going through a lot of this stuff quickly because I want to give time for the guest speakers, but basically right now is a great time to plan out long term. Yes, you want to be current. Yes, you want to be talking about things to put a smile on people's faces, but you also want to plan things for the future. So as I've talked about in other webinars, planning, content calendars, all these resources I will make available also to you. But again, just like Facebook, just like you can do with LinkedIn, also you want to plan out your schedule for Instagram. And the reason I say that is because you can make posts relevant to something that's going on. So this was one post that we did for daylight savings time. I didn't put a clock. I didn't say set your clocks back. I gave an image to go along with what was going on currently, right? So you can plan that stuff ahead. And we'll talk about stories in a little bit, but having a plan for your gallery, having a plan for your static posts that stay around a long time is something that you should be doing anyway. Then to augment your posts, you can add in stories, you can pepper in that, what's happening right this minute, what's happening, in my life, in my work life, in my kids' life, in, outside the window life. Any of that stuff can go into your stories. And so you're keeping relevant, but you're also keeping a theme in your posts. Okay. Here's a couple other examples. Knowing who you're talking to, knowing what you're posting. One of these, actually these are both videos, I think, but video is a great way to communicate with your audiences and showcase them. Right now we're talking a lot about virtual tours. Take a short video. Instagram is different in the fact that you can only post a native video that's 60 seconds or less. If you do have a really long video, don't go back and re-edit it. There are ways to do that using IGTV, and I can talk to you separately about that. If you're doing a video, talk to the people that you know are watching, right? It doesn't have to be a live video, but just explain what's going on, what is the purpose of your post, what's the purpose of your video, and speak to them, right? Because you know basically who's following you, and by the tags, by the hashtags, hopefully your audience will see a lot more of your posts that way. I'm just going to skip this one real quick. We're going to talk about hashtags in a minute, but there are a couple of different there's a few different terminologies. Hashtags, like we talked about, are descriptive terms with the number sign in front of it. You can have up to 30 in your post. Some people also put hashtags in their comments. I think that's catching on more and more for engagement purposes. But then you can also tag the photos, or you can tag a business in your post also. A lot of people will tag the photo because it's invisible unless somebody touches the photo. So a tag is that @ symbol, the @ Kinlan Grover or the @ Randall Realtors, and you can tag that in the photo. In this case, I think they tagged the designer that designed this home, right? Or you can tag the photographer that took this picture. You always want to make sure you're giving credit to those people, either who took it or whose picture it is, or whatever, however you want to. Or you can tag people that you think would be interested in it. So there's a variety of reasons for tagging, and you can do both tagging and hashtagging. Hashtagging is, again, descriptive words. So these are all hyperlinks that people can search for. So in this case, she did hashtag foyer, hashtag staircase. You can do hashtag high ceilings, hashtag chandelier, hashtag wood floors, right? So all of those things describe this photo, and perhaps people who are looking for those things will see your photo. Another one for us to keep in mind is tagging or using the hashtags for Leading RE, Luxury Portfolio, Christie's International Real Estate. I see a lot of people that use hashtag Christie's. Obviously, that's the auction house, so we want to make sure we're differentiating there. But if you are at Randall or Page Taft in the Christie's and you have the Christie's affiliation, by all means, use those hashtags and tags if you want them to see your picture. How are we doing on time here? All right. I play this one. If you've seen it, I apologize, but it kind of gives you a high-level overview to what a hashtag is. Link here, but this is a handout resource that I have on hashtags that you can use for real estate. Here's an example. Again, you don't have to use emojis if that's not really your thing. But here's an example, right? So you're going to do a post on something that was just sold. Even if you're not putting a picture of the house, maybe you're putting a picture of the buyers in there. Whatever it is, these are some examples of hashtags that you can use. And you want to break them up into really general, really generic, really broad terms. And you also want to use specific to your company, specific local town, town and location hashtags, as well as some really hyper local ones. So if you're in a neighborhood or like Weekapaug or New Seabury, instead of putting Mashpee, Massachusetts, you can also put New Seabury, hashtag Pomponessa, that kind of thing, so that people who are really, really searching for that hyper local, whatever it is, picture, house for sale, person, whatever it is, they will find that from that really hyper local hashtag. Brian just made a post or comment there. LPI did a social media webinar, so we'll share that recording with everybody as well on the Navigator post with all the fun stuff you guys can be learning while we work from home all together. All right, so one thing, I've seen it all the time. We all have fat fingers, and if we're constantly typing on our phones hashtag and we're writing out 30 hashtags every post, there's going to be a mistake. Inevitably, it happens. So one thing I use the Notes app on my phone or on my desktop, and I create a list. So I have a list for open houses. I have a list for Cape Cod. I have a list for just sold. I have a list for waterfront. I have a list for luxury. So anytime that I post something, I have a beginning place to start with all of my hashtags. And then I don't have to write them every time. I can copy and paste that into my post. Not just for time saving, but to make sure you don't spell anything wrong. So here's some examples of hashtags you can follow, hashtag themes. And then at the bottom it says the autofill. So if you've been posting something and you're typing it on your phone and you start typing, say, Cape Cod real estate, you might see some other options. You might see Cape Cod realtor. You might see Cape Cod real estate with a beach emoji. Right next to that, you'll be able to see how many posts that particular hashtag has. Now, if you're gonna do hashtag real estate, there's gonna be millions of those, right? And maybe you want that for a lot of visibility, maybe you don't. Again, you can test that out with the insights and see what's working, what's not working. But the more hyper local you get, the more visibility you will get, because there's only a certain number of people that are using that hashtag and or following that hashtag. If you're going to start a new hashtag, remember, hashtags are searchable, so it's a good way for people to find you, but they're also good for branding. So for the awards night, for instance, I created a KG awards night, and I typed that in first to see if there was anything out there. I don't think that one had any, but I tried a few different ones, and there were some other hashtag people that were using the same hashtag. And you kind of got to check that out first if you're going to create a new one for your brand. Make sure A, there's not a lot of competition, but B, there's nothing that you wouldn't want your clients or your followers to see if they typed in that hashtag, because that has happened. You can also check out influencers. I'm going to give you a few different lists of people to follow, but yesterday I happened to be on, and Ryan Serhant was on an Instagram live chat with the points guy. I also follow him, but it was fun to see. I didn't put the screenshot, but I also saw a live concert by Jimmy Buffett. Anybody who knows me knows I love my Jimmy Buffett. So if you're following these people, you'll get the notifications when they go on live. But there are a bunch of real estate agent accounts, influencers. You can get some ideas. Obviously, you're not going to be national yet, and you're not going to be viral yet, but you can take a look at what other people are doing in our industry and get some ideas. Am I doing on time? Okay. And again, we will go live in a little bit, but just to give you some other examples, the real houses of IG. If you're new to Instagram, you want to use things like IG, Insta real estate, those kinds of things. People will follow it. They're more generic, they're more broad, but it's definitely things for you to check out. My dog's about to start barking. There's some other things. There's some other things that you can use if you don't have a lot of local content, especially now if you're not going outside and getting new photos. You can always make some content, some stuff, some videos. Canva is a big one that a lot of people use. It has a bunch of pre-formulated, pre-sized templates, and also just sample visuals that you can use. It's funny, if you don't customize it at all, you'll see, especially around holidays, a ton of businesses using the same thing, and you know that they got it from Canva. But it's a good place to start. A lot of free backgrounds, a lot of free graphics, templates and stuff like that from Canva. And also you can make videos. If you're creative, you don't need to just stand in front of the camera. You could make a short video. I know some of our agents have signed up for a few tools, and they make those videos that go on to the post itself. And if you're just joining us, if you can just turn off your camera and your sound, we are good. There will be a recording made live for everybody to see. So if you're just joining in or you're jumping in later, that's fine. You will not miss anything. Or you won't miss my flubbing either. My dog playing with her toys. Another thing that some people do with Instagram, and I caution you with this only because um, it's okay to repost other people's content, but you have to A, do it sparingly, and B, really do it and make sure you're showcasing that person, right? Or that Instagram account. Don't ever be the guy that steals somebody else's content. Um, I know somebody that's very big on Instagram and he hides his own watermark in the photos because people are constantly taking screenshots and stealing his stuff, and he goes back in and sees it. He's like, hey, thanks for the shout out for my picture. You stole my logo. So, you got to be very sensitive to that. But anyway, so if you see something that you like, yesterday actually I did this with a friend of mine, and she did a video that I reposted on my Instagram so that other people would share and repost and whatnot. So if you want to do this, you do need to have a separate app. There are a few. You can see the screenshot below. There's Repost, Regram. There's a bunch of them. If you're using any kind of scheduling tools, they have some capabilities as well. But you have to have that app first. So then you go into your Instagram post, and at the top, obviously this picture wasn't from this winter. At the top, there's 3 dots, and you click the 3 dots, and below you'll see the opportunity to copy the link. You copy the link, you open your Repost app, and then it'll tell you what, it'll show what you've recently copied, and then it'll tell you or give you options of what to do next. So in this case, it's always appropriate to keep the other account's information visible so people know that you took it or borrowed it or repurposed it. So copying the caption and opening Instagram, and then it will go to your Instagram and you paste. You can rearrange things. You can put the repost hashtag or tag symbol at the bottom of your post. You don't have to have it front and center, but wherever it is, the person that you've reposted from will be notified. So that's really the main objective there. And we do this periodically on the company accounts by reposting some really great scenic photos of our area, and people love it. I'm not trying to say that these are our photos, but it is something that a lot of people enjoy seeing. So it can be done. It can be done sparingly. Just, offer that up as word of caution. Just don't steal people's stuff. All right. So Instagram stories aren't actually that new anymore. But as I mentioned before, you can have your brand gallery, but then speak to your customers, speak to your fans, speak to your friends on a more personal level with stories. Stories are only live for 24 hours. And they show up at the top of the screen, and you can see if there's a pink circle around the top of it, that means there's a story. And anybody that you are following, their stories will pop up here, but obviously you need to watch them before you get to them. So if you're following 500 people and they all did stories today, they're not going to show up on your phone screen, right? You're only going to get the first 4 or 5, but once you watch their stories, then the next ones come in. And if you're scrolling through your feed, sometimes you'll see them down the middle of your feed as well. The idea is you want to interact with those people. You want to see what they're doing locally. The dog. So those are stories. Any questions? Am I going too fast for people? Is this all right? Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to create the stories. So if you go to your logo, you click on the logo, and then it'll bring it up at the top of the screen, and there's a plus sign. So you basically click on your own story to add a story with the blue plus sign. And I didn't take a picture of anything but the ceiling, but the next thing you'll see is this screen and have options. So you can go live, you can create by just taking a picture, you can boomerang, there's a bunch of filters. There are so many different things you can do with stories. And if you've been on Instagram, even personally, then you've seen different options. But basically you take the picture, take the video, whatever it is you're going to create, and then the next screen will show up with all these options. And I've shown you the different ones here. You can download the image if you want to use it in something else. And people will do that for, say, their Instagram story they share on Snapchat, or their TikTok they share on Instagram, or just to save it and make fun of yourself later. So there's a couple of reasons why you might want to download the image. The next one is the emoji. You can add any of the same emojis that we can type. You can put right on your screen. You can add a sticker. I'll show you a couple of those in a minute. And you could draw on your image. You can make it different colors. And then, of course, you can type anything over the image in a bunch of fonts. This is what it would look like if you were just going to hand draw on something, choosing your colors, making it decorative. Again, speak to you, speak to who you are. If you want to keep everything clean and polished, then the doodle factor is not your friend. But these are a few examples of stories I've seen recently. Now, one thing, again, when something is current, when something relevant is happening, you might see new stickers, you might see stories. Right now, a lot of people, I took the first two from the stay at home story, right? So 2 of our agents at Kinlan Grover used the stay home sticker, and their posts were featured in the stay home story. So you can see up at the top, it's actually stay home story, not Terry Gordon's story, okay? And the other thing that I like to point out is the stickers and the mentions. So if you, those of you who do use stories, if you put a sticker or an @ mention of Kinlan Grover, Randall Realtors, or Paige Taft, then I can see those and share them to our story. Now, because they're only around for 24 hours, I don't always see every one of them, so please don't take offense to that. Sometimes I'll see something that really isn't relevant for the company's position or the company's story, but I will at least give you a heart just to let you know I saw it and I liked it. But all you got to do is in that sticker, go back to that a second. On the sticker one, you choose the @ mention. I thought I had a screenshot of it, but I didn't put it in. Anyway, one of them says @ mention, and then you type in the account that you're trying to mention and you put that on your story, and then I can feature it on the company one or who's ever, right? So a lot of times, for instance, if anybody's taking a picture of me and they want to tag Cape Cloth, you would just do @ Cape Cloth and put it in your story, and then Cape Cloth could see it and go, oh, that's awesome, I'm going to share that with my followers. So it's another way to get more visibility, to get in front of people. It's really quite helpful, and it showcases other businesses or other topics, right? We talk about the relevant hashtags. If there's something that's trending, those will show up as well. So it's a really great way to stay current and stay relevant. Here are a few that I found just last night. We've got a couple of guest speakers coming on in a little bit, and these are some of their stories that they just posted last night, or just the post. Catherine did a boomerang of her note taking, so that was kind of fun to see. All right, anybody have any other questions for me? All right, so the last screen I have, and then I will go live if I can make this work on the iPad, is just like I kind of mentioned this before. Proper etiquette be authentic, but be professional, right? Unless you have your Instagram account set up to be private, you are public facing. And keep in mind, if you have changed to a business profile, it is public facing. So, and a lot of people ask me this, if they should keep their personal and do a professional one later, do two separate ones. And again, that's a personal decision. If your if your personal account is filled with party photos or your daughter or your granddaughter or things from college, and that was 10 years ago, perhaps start a new Instagram account for business. Excuse me. If it's not, and it's just some local photos, some things, that you visited a restaurant, for instance, you went to a play, whatever, those things are personal, but they're not really things that are super, super private. So you could keep that account, maybe rename it, but then make it public facing and have it as a business account. And I talked a little bit about this earlier, but just make sure you're giving credit to the photographers, or in this case, the magazine, right? She took a picture of the magazine, but she reposted their picture. Sorry, she took their picture and reposted it. So you want to make sure you're giving credit. Always shout out to your local businesses, your local community. The more you tag, the more people are going to see your post, right? Because if you're tagging businesses, there's a chance that those business followers will see your post as well, perhaps gaining some more followers for yourself. Geotags, I didn't cover this. So we talked about location hashtags, but you also want to put in a geotag in your post. And again, I'll show an example of all these things when we go live in a second. But you want to put where the picture was taken if it's appropriate, because people also want to see what's being posted about that location. If you've ever typed in the search bar for a specific town, you might see hashtags, but you also might see a check-in mark, a map icon. That will show you any posts that have to do with that location. Now, do people follow that? Not really. But if somebody, let's say, was trying to move to a new area, or they were visiting and they didn't know what was going on, they could always search that geolocation and see a bunch of posts. Again, will it get you more followers? Maybe not, but it might have your posts in front of more people. The other thing also to mention, again, is the size. A perfect square is the right size for Instagram. Yes, you can post horizontal photos, but when you go to the gallery, those get cut off. So if you've ever seen somebody's account, again, I'll show you this in a second, where it's squares, but then one picture got cut off, they posted a horizontal image that was rectangular. So again, if you use something like Canva, they'll have the right sizes for Instagram stories, which are vertical, or Instagram posts, which are 1080 by 1080. I'm waiting for people to ask me questions, but nobody's asked me any questions, so this is going to be fun. All right, I'm going to try. I don't know if I can do it, so give me a second. While I'm doing this, for those of you who joined a little bit late, I want to I challenged people to have a costume today, and actually you can't see it. I just want to showcase what my t-shirt is to help with this theme. Wait, can you see it? Oh, there it is. All right, so also I've got my mug, and then I've got my scene behind me. If anybody can guess what my theme is while I'm switching this over, there may be a prize. Take it away.
Hi guys. Okay, well first I have to get my costume on. This is for Catherine, since she loves margaritas and Jimmy Buffett. Okay.
Your audience. See, talk about your audience. Oh,
kind
look at that.
The drink. Okay, so there's that. This is for you, Catherine.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I guess first you want me to just go through some things of my thoughts?
Yeah, just, I mean, tell a little bit about how you use Instagram. I've got your profile up here on the screen. We
Great.
know you have a lot of followers, a lot of highlights, a lot of stories, but maybe just a few tidbits of how it's working for you and what you like to do without giving away all your trade secrets. That's fine
Yeah,
too.
of course. So one of the newest things that we really do like to use is the stories, which is, the not that new, but the newest feature of Instagram. Um, so I do post on my page, but I use the stories a lot more now. I usually only post on my page about once a day or maybe even every other day, but the stories are something I'm using on a daily basis. So what I try to focus on is, what are we doing on a daily basis? Some of it's real estate, but some of it's just us. So we like our personalities to show through. So lots of times, maybe not right now, but when we were going out, if we were seeing a local musician or going to a local restaurant, I would share a video from there. And as you mentioned, the most important thing is, tagging other people. So what I do is now that we're stuck inside, I follow a lot of local businesses. So, for example, this morning, the Underground Bakery posted that they were doing cookie decorating kits or cupcake decorating kits. So I thought that was a cool thing that people should know about. You can go pick it up on their porch, good for kids, good for an adult if you want to decorate a cupcake. So I shared it on my story. It's something that I didn't want on my page lasting there forever, but it was something that I thought in my story for 24 hours, it would be great to share. So again, I shared it and I tagged them in it, and then they can see that I posted it. And most of the times businesses will, there it is. Yeah, most times businesses will actually repost it on their page. So then that gets their followers to actually see your post as well. So yeah, that was the post about the decorating kits. Yesterday was supposed
You
to be
have a
opening
lot of
day.
stories, which is awesome. But do you put some of these in highlights, you said?
I don't really that much. That's just my personal thing. I have some in highlights, but I kind of just keep my shout outs, my local businesses, really just on my 24-hour story. This was an awesome photographer that I loved her photo. Again, the most important thing that you said was to tag them. So use that @ symbol and make sure that you are giving them credit of where the photo's coming from. So we love stories. And again, I really just try to, right now, while we can't get outside, I really just try to share local businesses, posts. This actually is a listing from another realtor that she's trying to sell it, and it might be a home sale contingency for one of my sellers. So I wanted to share her listing. And again, at the
that's
bottom,
a perfect way to do it, by tagging her in it. So that's
I
perfect.
tagged her at the bottom of it. Yeah. What else do I have on there today? I think I've got just.
Oh yeah, vote, vote, vote.
Oh yeah, so I know I've been annoying people. So we got nominated for Cape Cod Best Awards, and I've been telling everyone to vote. They extended the voting, which was
Great.
great. Now it's still the 31st. I was so ready for it to be over. But yeah, so I remind people to vote. So then, we put silly things in there, and we always try to also show us and show our faces. So I was at a walkthrough the other day. I gave a little intro of the house. And then I show people around the house. So people love seeing the inside of homes. We don't normally do straight up video tours of our houses, our listings, but I mean, things are going to change now. We're going to do it now. We usually just do little video walkthroughs and photos, but not an actual full tour. That's something we might get into now, of being stuck inside. So.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, the other thing, that picture, the top picture, I've actually been doing a web show with another local realtor. It's called What's Good Cape Cod. So we've been doing a monthly show that we feature a person, a place, and thing of something we love around Cape Cod. And I've been doing it with Katie Clancy from William Ravis. So we've kind of just been teaming up. And it's a great way just to get our faces out there and to share what we love about Cape Cod. So that's what you'll see.
I think that's a really good point. You guys are literally competing realtors, but you're also in the community together. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't take away, is that they always have to sell. But really, you want to be the go-to resource for all things local. And I think this collaboration is awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. You know, I want to show 'em the listings I have, but I want to be the place. People all the time will message me and say, "Where should I go to dinner tonight?" or "What band's playing this weekend?" You know, and I love helping other people. So that's the thing. You know, we're a local business. We love helping other local businesses. So that's really like what we like to showcase on our page. And with Katie, Katie is someone that I follow. She's spoken at Inman conferences. She's, you know, she was supposed to speak at the Cape Cod Real Estate Conference here, which is not happening or postponed maybe. But she's a great local resource. She's great on social media. So someone I've been following. So it's great to do a collaboration with her. And we can work together. You know, she can have a buyer, I can have a seller, and we might be competitors per se, but it's nice coming together and just showing everyone that we can work together. So yeah, that's the monthly show I've been doing. What else do I have here? So yeah, we do follow our clients on social media. So we have a lot of buyers and sellers that have followed us before they were even our clients, and maybe that's why they've become our clients. But we do love staying in contact with our clients on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. You know, you can just like their posts, or sometimes I comment on them, or sometimes they share something that's really funny, and I'll share their post. So it's, you know, we really like to stay in contact, and it's a fun way to do that. You know, it's not just sending out an email blast. It's kind of, you know, a great social way to stay in contact with them.
Yeah, that's becoming more and more popular. I've seen a lot of sharing posts.
Yeah.
And again, I can't do it right now because I can't share on my iPad, but if you, oh, I guess you can see it. So if you go to a post and you want to share this in your story, you can use this little paper airplane. Or up here was the copy link thing that we were talking about earlier with the repost.
Yeah, I use the paper airplane. And again, just make sure I re-tag the person just to make sure that they see it.
Yep.
And that they're, you know, given the credit. What other things?
Awesome.
So we like to follow local businesses. So some that we follow that are great would be like Love Live Local. We follow the Cape Cod Chamber, follow local restaurants. And I also follow local, yeah, of course, Cape Cod, my favorite. You follow me at all, he's all over it. I also follow realtors, whether they're local or other, you know, in other areas. So it's great to just see what other realtors are doing. Also, I had a realtor from another company share a coming soon on Facebook, and it was perfect house for one of my clients. I got in the first day that she put on the market. We put it under agreement. It was all really because I found it on Facebook. So the coming soons are really great. Also, I've gotten referrals. So I follow some other agents that are maybe in Boston that aren't even in our company, that are great on social media, and they have followed me, and I've gotten referrals out of them. So it's great to follow other realtors just to see what's going on in the market, and to see if you can work together at all.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I've got a couple other people lined up. So anybody have any questions for Sarah, type them in the chat window and we can certainly get to those. We may run a little bit over 12. If you have to leave, that's okay. But thank you so much for bearing with the technical issues. So now I'm going to unmute our next speaker, Kat Baran. No, I'm not. She's going to unmute herself. Woohoo.
Hey, I'm here.
All right. So now you got to show your screen also, if you want to.
Oh, I don't care. Let's see if I can do it.
Do you have a costume?
Did that work? Can you see? All. One.
If you hover down the bottom of the screen, there should be a thing that shows, yep, there you are. Woohoo!
Hey. All right, so I only have like a really sad, like, sort of costume. So here's my hat. Here's my rabbit.
Awesome.
So I kind of was like thinking, like, I'm going to help you work your magic, you know, with Instagram. Nice. You like that? I'm not wearing this, like so, that. But there's my costume. It's right here. My rabbit in my hat.
Thank you.
So I know, I'm such a dork. So anyway, so thanks for having me. This is so cool.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. So just kind of reiterating what Sarah said, I really I really love what she said about sort of collaborating with your community as Cape Codders, and it's just really important to connect with as many people as we can and show our support to those people. And in return, they're going to remember us, you know, as supporting them. And even just going in and making a little comment or liking on their posts and things like that and tagging them in things is so important. So that's a big one for me. I also just wanted to say, like, with social media, I really strongly believe that people should only pick one or two social media channels to work with really full time. If you want to say full time, but I mean, obviously I have like the Snapchat and this other stuff, but for me it's Facebook and Instagram, and that's it, because I can really focus on those things instead of sort of little blurps of things all over every social media platform. You're really putting all your energy into two big ones, and it just helps you to manage your time better and really expand your audience on those platforms. So for me, obviously Instagram and Facebook are big. I connect them a lot. I do a lot with both. I share everything, well, not everything, from my Instagram onto my business Facebook page, not my personal page. My Instagram is more laid back. It's not so much my strict business page like my Facebook business page is, but I'm very strategic about how I decide to post things. I think that really pushing your personality into your posts is really important too, because you want people to like you, you know, you're trying to sell yourself, and you want people to like you and like want to connect with you and want to talk to you. So whether that's, you know, you're somebody who's really funny, or you're somebody who really loves, you know, I don't know, gardening or something like that, I really think implementing those things into your platform is extremely helpful. I mean, I have people, I'm silly, I'm goofy, I admit that. I don't know, that's how I am. So all my posts are kind of silly and goofy, and you can really, it reflects my personality and everything that I do. And so people say to me all the time, like, oh my gosh, that post you put up was so funny. And a lot of it is sort of like a hidden meaning. I like to sort of strategically place Kinlan Grover products around, or like, you know, so sort of explain that I'm a realtor without actually telling people that I'm a realtor every single time. For example, like if you're at an open house and you're putting your sign in, and I had a post a while back where there was like 50-mile-an-hour winds, and I was trying to put my sign up and the wind was just taking, it was going all over the place. And so I just like posted like, oh my gosh, this wind is crazy. And it was like me with my sign. And so it wasn't so salesy. It was just kind of like this funny thing that happened to me while I was at work. And I think that really, really helps a lot too. Kind of getting off track here, but.
No, you're fine. I mean, personality is 100%, right?
Yes.
We're selling ourselves,
right?
Not just the products that we sell.
Right.
Because if people don't like you, they're not going to want to work with you.
Exactly.
Right? So if
right.
you have a sense of humor that, yeah.
Right. I think that that's very helpful when posting, and because you don't want to be generic, because I mean, what you want to set yourself apart from everybody else that's posting generic stock photos or what. I mean, I do post stock photos sometimes too. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but not all the time. You know, if you see something really funny and you want to share it, of course, like I'm sharing things like that too. But I think it's really important to set yourself apart from everybody else. And a good way to do that is to ask like really engaging questions, or something like where you know people are going to comment on it, or you know people are going to share it, to try to get answers from other people. And the more you do that, and the more people comment, the more people like, and more people share, the more Instagram's going to want to showcase your profile. And it's just basic algorithm. Other people are going to see it. So the more engaged people are in your posts, the more people are going to see your post. So it's just this big sort of domino effect on social media. The more that happens, the more audience you have, which is ultimately what we all want on social media, is to have a big audience so that you have, you know, and to expand our clientele. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So sometimes what I'll do is like, you know, which do you guys like better, A or B or whatever? I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but it works, and people go crazy. They comment all this stuff, they're sharing it with their friends. And when they share it with their friends, those friends are like, oh, hey, you have a friend who's a realtor? That's cool. I didn't know your friend was a realtor. And then they start, you know, it really, really does work. I've actually gotten listings from doing that, and buyers from doing just that.
Exactly. And I think that's a really big, important piece of it, is you're not trying to say in every single post, I'm a realtor, I'm a realtor. I mean, yes, okay, your handle is Catherine, your realtor, but you're not trying to push that in everybody's faces. And like you said, if somebody shares your post because they like it, it automatically puts you in front of other people and tells them that you're a realtor without you even trying. So I think that's an awesome way to do it.
Yeah, and it really does work. For me, social media in marketing is very psychological. It's a lot of reverse psychology and getting in those little, you know, cracks in people's brains and letting them really think about stuff, and they will remember you. They will remember you if you post things that are memorable and you're constantly putting your face out there on other people's stuff, on your own stuff. Yep. Like, they will remember you. I mean, I've had people reach out to me. I don't even know who they are, but I'm friends with them apparently on Facebook, and I don't even know if they know me. What's that?
It's top of mind. So, you know, you're just out there, and by showing up in somebody's feed, they see you and they remember you.
Right. And I know a lot of that is more Facebook than Instagram with the showing up in feeds and stuff like that. But it is true. The more you connect with people, it's all about relationships anyway. So the more you connect with people and make them feel important and that their posts are important and you like their posts and you're commenting and you're sharing, then those people are going to in turn remember you and share your information and tell people about you. And that's ultimately what we all really want. I do want to say, like, there are certain things that I see that I can't stand to see when people post on their Facebook, and that's like a lot of like controversial or political stuff on your pages. When for me it's like it's really only because, you know, I may completely agree with what you have to say, and a lot of people will agree with what you have to say, but a lot of people won't. And when you do things like that, you're losing out on a lot of potential business when you don't think you are.
That's a very good point. And especially right now, let's just keep things light. Let's keep our political and personal views out of it. Yes. And again, that's another plug for personal versus business profiles, right? If you want to be that person, then be that person on your personal side of things and not on your business profile. So that's a very important thing.
Yeah, and I know we all see it all the time. I mean, I see it all the time, and I'm like cringing on the inside. I'm like, whether I agree with, maybe I completely agree with you saying, it doesn't matter, but you're really limiting yourself when you do that, because potentially 50% of those people that are following you are like, I don't really agree with that, and they're just not going to like you now. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, whether you're a great person or not, that people feel if you're posting things that people feel very strongly in either direction, it's just a risky game, and I don't think it's worth doing at all.
Absolutely. But well, Catherine, thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Hey,
I know this is an odd situation, but it's really helpful to hear other people's perspectives. And again, if anybody has questions for Catherine or anybody, stick them in the chat window. So for anybody who does not know Emma, Emma has she's been an agent with Randall Realtors for a while, but she's actually recently been given the role of office manager in the Westerly office. But Emma actually does a lot with our Randall Realtors Instagram. So she doesn't have a business profile because she focuses a lot on what we put up on Randall, which is a huge help, but also showcases what she can do. So I've asked Emma to join us and just give a little insight more to the business side of things. And again, if anybody has questions, shoot them in the chat box. You're on.
Yeah. Okay. So like Catherine said, I do help out a lot with Randall. I've actually kind of maxed out the amount of accounts I can have on my Instagram between that and another business account that I have. But I think that one thing that Catherine and I have kind of discovered is that Instagram stories, which I know you talked about, Instagram stories are a unique way to engage in our customers and our clients. We have found that using the features within the Instagram stories, like the ask a question or the polls, I don't think we have any of those up right now.
Not right now, we don't know.
No. Darn, we should have done one.
We're staying a little status quo right now, unfortunately, but yeah, the polls are really good. Even if it's just a yes or no, like, do you like the blue kitchen? Do you like the black kitchen?
Yeah, it's crazy how many people engage in those posts rather than just, you know, flipping through them. So that's kind of unique and kind of cool that we get to see that. And coming up with all those kind of posts are fun. And we come up with a bunch of different kinds, like you said, you know, whether or not you like the, you know, wood cabinets or white cabinets, or, you know, do you like a steam shower or a bathtub or something. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with the Instagram stories. And yeah, so that's that.
And we plan them too. I mean, yes, Instagram stories are off the cuff and live sometimes, but they also can be planned. So using a content calendar, we come up with themes. Like we did stuff around the Super Bowl. We did stuff. What was one of the other ones we did recently? Well, you were at Leading RE, so you posted a lot of stuff from the conference.
Yep.
I'll show those stories to give us a little bit of an idea.
Yeah.
So most of these are from Emma. I didn't put a lot of them in the highlights, but I can, whoa. Okay. And then that was great. So I was flipping through Luxury Portfolio's story, and I happened to see this picture that they posted.
Not the best picture of me, by the way.
not the greatest picture, but it was awesome. You were front and center right there. Yeah. And so I took that, and in that case, I took a screenshot because, of course, they hadn't tagged us in it. But I took it and I added it to our story, which was awesome. I thought that was great. Good sport.
Yes.
All right. Anything else that you want to add? I know you had a couple of things.
Yeah. So I sent you, Catherine, a private message to an Instagram. If you could bring that up. So while we were at the conference, I was out there with. Say it again.
I heard about this guy. This is awesome.
Yeah. So this is kind of another unique thing that you can do with real estate. Not with real estate. Well, yeah, with real estate, I guess, but Instagram rather is creating a unique. I don't know what the word would be, but anyways, I came across this realtor.
They have a mascot.
What?
They have a mascot.
Yeah, they have kind of like a mascot, and the mascot has its own Instagram page, which is kind of a unique way to get people to engage in like the posts, and it's not just straight up listing photos or straight up, you know, content about market reports and whatnot. It's kind of a fun way to talk about real estate, I guess, but it's just fun. So I thought this was kind of unique.
That subtle product placement, right? I mean, I got this.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
It's the subtlety, but yet it's something fun and unique that people can follow without, you know, you're still being reminded that it's real estate, but you're not thinking about real estate, because we know that not every one of our followers is ready to buy or sell right this moment, right?
Right.
So instead of in your face selling products to them, this is a really awesome way to get in front of, you know, locations, right? We talked about global, I'm local. This is, you know, perfect. Anytime somebody goes on a trip, they take the bear with them and they take the pictures. It's awesome.
Yep. And it makes you want to keep going back to their page. You know, you want to say, oh, where'd this little bear go next? You know, where is he headed? So it's cool. It's really cool that they did that.
Yeah, I love that idea.
A couple of other, so like I said, I don't have any personal business account rather, but a couple of other accounts that you could look up, Catherine, just to give people some ideas of things to follow. Keeping Current Matters. I like that one. They post a lot of good content, quality content. Yep, there it is.
Yep. So that last one.
Don't follow them, definitely follow them. Yeah, I saw that. So I just like them. It's good quality content. Their graphics are good. So and
these are good things that you could repost also, right? You can copy the link and share it on yours, or put it in your story. Well, I can't do it on the desktop version, but that's how you go to your story here.
Yeah. So there's that one. And then to keep things light, like you were kind of saying, the other one is the broke agent, which I think some of us already follow. I looked at that one. Sometimes it's good to just follow these kind of accounts because we need to remind ourselves that, we're not the only one going through stressful times, or we're not the only one that's having a bad day or had a bad closing, or not a bad closing. Closing should be good, but a bad transaction, or, whatever. So I think this account's just fun to follow. It's brings out some humor, and I think we kind of need that at this point.
Absolutely. This one was a good one. I've seen a lot of people post this one.
Yes. Yep.
This is where we're talking about being top of mind without saying coronavirus, 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 right? This is taking what's going on and everybody's aware of, but putting some humor to bring smiles to people's faces, staying positive, all the while reminding people that we are in the real estate business.
Yep.
All right. Any other ones?
No, I just had those three. I think I still have a bunch of notes here. I was kind of like taking notes. One thing that I will say that you touched on, and I think is important to remember, is using hashtags. Try to be unique with them. If you use the hashtag real estate agent, there's 7.3 million posts associated with that. But if you use, the hashtag Cape Cod Realtor, there's less than 1,000 posts. Or if you use one that's more specific, like Westerly Realtor, there's fewer than 100. So you're not going to get lost in the sea of hashtags.
So that's a great point.
7.2 million. Your post will never show up in that.
Right. So here's one, Westerly Real Estate. There's only 102 posts with that hashtag, and here's one with real estate agent. 37 posts. So like if we click on this one, we can see these are the top posts like I was mentioning. Is this ours? I like that might have been ours.
Oh yeah.
Here's one of ours.
Yep.
Ours? Yeah, it is ours. So that was one of the hashtags that we used for this property photo. But see here, we were talking about geotags earlier. So it's very, very local. If somebody were looking for that, they'd be able to see it. But that was one of the hashtags we used. And because there aren't so many, it shows up here in the top posts, which is awesome.
Right. Yep.
Yay, us. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that was kind of it.
Nobody's asking questions, so I appreciate your time and your input. And again, thank you so much for all the help that you've been doing on the Randall.
You're welcome. I'm happy to help.
Webcam. Hi. Am I here? Am I here? Yes. What's up? It's people. Pretty excited about it.
We're pretty excited about it too. It's fun.
Oh,
we've had a few technical glitches today, but it's been fun.
Okay,
anyway.
We're learning, right?
Yeah, technology.
Right.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
I've got your profile up here. I'm going to play a couple of your stories, but any insights, insider tips you want to share? How about it?
Yeah, I mean, so going off of what everybody else has been saying, I think Instagram is the best place where you can do a variety of things, where it's, you can be professional, you can be funny, you can be valuable, and you can be, yourself. Like you can show your personality, which I think is a lot of fun. I think sometimes I get a little preoccupied with my personality and my dogs and my garden, but I try and incorporate business as much as I can.
Yeah, and I love your inspirational posts. I think you do one of these every day, right? You do your workout and then you do your inspiration, and it's a great way to start the day. It's perfect.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too for people who are brand new and are starting Instagram. The most important thing is to get into a routine. Whatever your morning routine is, especially right now, actually, to stay in a routine is really important. And my routine forever now has been to get up and do my workout and do my first posts, and then, get on with whatever my day is, whether it's meetings or showings or whatever. And then you kind of get used to
taking a quick picture, posting it then, or doing it all at a certain time of day. So you kind of figure out what works for you, whether it's in the moment, taking a picture, putting it on Instagram, or, you know, kind of capturing your day through, you know, just taking pictures. And then at night, you kind of wrap it all up into a ball and put your story on Instagram for people to see. I think it works both ways. You know, if you do it instantly or if you make it look nice at the end of the day, I think it's still effective.
That's a great tip, actually, because if you think about it, I mean, these days, all right, we may have a little more time on our hands during the day, but in general, right, the high and low times on any social platform, but very much Instagram, is first thing in the morning and last thing at night, right? So we're kind of unwinding. We want to see what people have done, and that's a perfect time to engage with people.
Right, right. And then other things that people said, like asking questions, tagging local businesses, tagging the location where you are. Those are all really important to kind of get more involvement and get more people to see your posts. Always tagging Kinlan Grover at Kinlan Grover, just so Catherine sees it, she can share it. And then to know, you know, who you work for and, you know, what you're doing. Again, it's just like an extra kind of step of validity. Oh, I don't know what that word is.
Validity?
Validity? Oh. It's the biggest word I've used in a while.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, that's a big piece, right? Because a lot of people aren't using their brokerage in their username. So having that tag in there is really helpful.
Right.
And again, you can't see when people tag the photos on the desktop, but.
Yeah. No. What else?
Like you said, supporting local organizations, local events. You know, this is great. This is something that you're interested in, that you're passionate about, as well as dogs, as well as exercising. You're part of the community. So anything like that where you can tag them and showcase what people are doing is awesome.
Yeah, especially now, you know, with the restaurants and everybody, you know, I've been trying to follow everybody on the South Shore for a while, but now you can share those posts too of the restaurants who are doing specials or, you know, special hours, or, you know, even some other small businesses who are trying to get, you know, some support. So those are really good to share at this point.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, and someone mentioned keeping current matters. That's a really great thing to do right now. They have a whole section on coronavirus and what to share, and, you know, just to add value to your customers, your clients, and, you know, just the general public of actual facts. You know, you hear so much stuff going on, just to kind of talk them down from being this panic. Just give them actual, you know, valuable information to keep them kind of sane too.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I will just preface that with, you know, it's a great place to know where your resources are, but unless you are really a, you know, healthcare worker or a local government official, this is my personal opinion, but I don't think we're in the position to be telling people what's happening with all of that stuff. I think it's way more effective to give them something in light of what's happening that they can do to be helpful or to support local businesses. I mean, yes, we want to let people know that we're still working and we're still doing things, and maybe the way we've done business is changing right now. But I would caution people to talk about the virus unless it's really, really personally affecting you or your business. I think we kind of need to stay away from that. Again, that's my opinion. I know people are doing things slightly differently, but certainly people like Tom Ferry and, you know, Leading RE has a lot of webinars and stuff with you know, industry information. That's certainly something more poignant, I think. But from a personal, individual standpoint, I think we kind of have to think twice before we post something like that. But you're right, it's an excellent place for resources. I mean, they have a whole highlight here on their Instagram.
Yeah, it's more about market. It's not like specific coronavirus, but it's more about how the market is acting because of it, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree with you.
And just remembering to tag people, places, include, share with people, everything that everybody's already said, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I don't see Amy Randall. She was scheduled to come on next. But no, I mean, we've all kind of talked about it, and it's a good platform to be on anyway, but more so now with the capabilities of, let's say our video walkthroughs, or just if you had pictures from a listing that you took while you were there, but those aren't the formal listing photos, right? You're giving more insight to these homes, right? We're still working, and we are still trying to do the best thing we can for our buyers and our sellers right now. So showcasing that stuff, again, that 80-20 mix that we talked about, but having that information to show people is great. And again, video is almost as good as a live. Well, look at what happens when you go live. Sometimes you have technical glitches, but video is really engaging. And if you can't laugh about it, then please don't do a live event. If you can't be okay with making mistakes, then a live session is not your thing. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who helped participate in this. And if you have more questions that you think of as soon as we turn this off, by all means, shoot me an email or set up a time. I'll put that link back in here again, but it's in the chat window. I'm really plugging myself at the moment because I'm here to help with questions or individual. If you haven't started Instagram and you want to start it, you didn't want to ask the questions today, that's okay. You can shoot me an email, or you can set up a one-on-one phone call with me. And thank you to everybody who came on to present. Thank you for all your questions. One more comment. And we are working on a Manage Your Contacts webinar too, possibly even a neighborhood news and a testimonial tree with Jim Schlott. So we will keep you posted. Everybody stay well, stay safe, be healthy, and happy Friday. I'm gonna stop this.